What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. We're going to continue the series of the playoff predictions, and this is going to be a tough one. And the reason why I say that is because I did pick OKC to win in a tough series against Utah. I thought it was going to be tough. But one thing I will say is the Jazz is a solid team. They play together. They kind of remind me of Boston. My Celtics are in a 7-game series. We're gonna see who wins tomorrow. But one thing I say is they can make the game ugly. They can make it challenging. We don't know what's gonna happen with Rubio because he did the hamstring that usually take you out for a couple weeks, and he is pivotal for that team. But I like Alex Burke. I told you that. Coming off that bench, he is an X factor type of guy because he's a guy that can get to the paint and knock down some jumpers in volumes depending on the games and depending on the space. Um, they lost Hood, and they looks good. And Rudy Gobert, I picked him for my defensive player of the year, and a lot of people started to agree with that as the season went on. And it looks like he might win it. He has been disgusting. Rotations are perfect. Sometimes he can get a little bit too foul happy and try to block everything and get in foul trouble. But, he came up with some clean protection against Paul George when he drove to the lane. He came up with a good block on Felton. And that's just knowing where the person is coming. Staying disciplined is something that he has to continue to work on so he don't pick up as many fouls trying to block everything. But let them try to readjust their shot. And if they try to readjust their shot, then to go for the block. Don't just go up there trying to block it because you don't know how they're going to shoot it yet. When they go up into your right by you, let them try to figure out how they're going to score it. Then you try to block the shot. And if he does that consistently, he wouldn't get in as many foul trouble because a lot of people believe that they would have won in 5 if Gobert doesn't go to the bench and Russell don't go off going to the paint. And the reason why I bring up Gobert is because I think he's going to be the MVP of the season if Utah will win this because his rebounding, his ability to clog up the paint, to stop the penetration of Harden. Harden gets that step back because you're scared that he's going to go past you. Um, if Gobert can, if you know that Gobert is going to be behind you, or even in pick and roll, you're not scared as much because he can contest and he can always drop down if you can't shoot. But the best part about it is if you a player like James Harden that likes to get to the free throw line and get to the paint, same with Chris Paul getting that middle, Gobert can challenge those shots. Not only can he challenge those shots, he stop you from getting in the paint so it's not as much penetration. So he's going to be pivotal if he can stay out of foul trouble. Same with Clint Capella. He has to be hard on them boards, and he has to continue to find ways throughout the series to be effective. Because Gobert, he really stunned Steven Adams. We thought Steven Adams was going to be great in the series. He wasn't terrible, but he never had that one game where you're like, yeah, Steven Adams has arrived. He just had a solid to mediocre season. Mediocre series against, the Jazz. And a lot of people thought that Adams was going to be a big difference for them, especially with Carmelo struggling. But he had a solid series, and he never really made that big of an impact. And the thing about this Utah team that I will say is they're resilient, they're fearless, they fight, they hungry, they stay together. And I just don't know how they're going to score. I'm not saying that Houston is a lockdown team, but Houston is a team that can get to that gear where if you don't have the right coverages, they will expose you. If you don't have the right lineups, they will expose you. And if you can't control the perimeter, which I don't know because Rubio, we don't know how long. He's a solid defender, but I don't know how long he's going to be out. Donovan Mitchell is not known as a defender. Ingles is a solid 3-and-D guy, not a super defender, but he can guard his position. But you can't make that mistakes. You can't make that many mistakes when you go against this Rocket team because they're so explosive. And we seen the same thing happen to Utah last year when they had Gordon Hayward against the Warriors. Even though George Hill was injured, they was able to grind, keep it close, keep it competitive, but they was never able to make that run to win the game. And we seen like today, OKC had a lot of chances to tie the game or take the lead. Because remember, they got 5 straight offensive rebounds, and if they make one of those threes, it's pressure back on Utah to score. Houston going to put you in situations where you have to trust one another for 48 minutes because they're going to attack you and they're going to find weaknesses and they're going to exploit them. And that's what the championship teams should do. And I think this is a good test for Houston because they're going to go against a more disciplined team in the Warriors and the Pelicans. These teams are more smarter. They got better offense and they can explode on you. And if you don't score enough, they can pile up the lead. Remember, you can just outscore a team by 5 each quarter and then you can get blew out. So that's what I'm saying. If Utah can't find a way to find some chinks in the armor, which the coach is going to try to do it when he game plans on Sunday, the game starts, he's going to have to find ways to get his team to score consistently just to hang around with Houston. Houston is a team with Gerald Green, Eric Gordon, James Harden, Chris Paul. They can make tough shots. They can take over a game by themselves by getting hot. Any of those players, and then even Ryan Anderson, like they can draw Gobert all the way out of that paint and then force him to guard 3-point shooters by going small with Ryan Anderson or just having Capella roll hard to the rim. It takes Gobert all the way to the rim, giving you space for James Harden, Chris Paul to go one-on-one because you have to guard Clint Capella because he's a lob threat. And if you go to the paint and try to stop Capella, he can still get to the free throw line or blow past, get a scoop layup, or just if you guard it too hard, then he's just going to lob it up to Capella. And if you don't do that, they can just kick it out to the shooter. So I think Rudy Gobert is going to be pivotal if they win this series, depending on how he guards the pick and roll and how he can keep Capella like he did Adams at bay. Because you will live with people taking perimeter shots compared to getting a lob. And Houston can make those tough shots. The question to me is just going to be, can Utah score enough points consistently to get a W over Houston that can explode at any time? They don't have a guy that can guard James Harden. We just seen last series, Jimmy Butler could not start James Harden. Jimmy Butler is one of the best two-way players in the league. And he could not stop James Harden. James Harden was just dribbling and pulling up threes right in his face and whacking them. And he's a 6'8", 6'7", 6'8" shooting guard. And James Harden is only 6'5". And Jimmy Butler is athletic, and they had no answer for him. And they don't have an answer for Chris Paul. Ricky Rubio can play, but he can't guard Chris Paul at all. And then you gotta think about it. If they can't guard these people one-on-one, or even if they switch and force them like they've been doing all season, who's gonna guard those shooters? Are you going to allow them to go one-on-one? And we done seen James Harden go for 44 and beat the Wolves. Are you going to allow them to go one-on-one? Or are you going to help? Is you going to trap? Is you going to double team? Because that can be a problem. Because everybody around them can shoot besides Capella. And they can put lineups without Capella that can shoot. And like I said, if you don't have Rudy Gobert, or even if you do, if you leave that paint open, James Harden can get to that paint or get to the free throw line. Worst case scenario, he lob it to Capella. Mediocre scenario, he kick out to a 3-point shooter, and next thing you know, you down 3. And if they can't score consistently, because they haven't really scored 100 even against OKC that much, next thing you know, you down by 3. They come down to make another shot or some free throws, you're down by 5, and then it piles up. So that's going to be the question. I'm going to keep it simplistic and minimalistic. The biggest thing about this series is, can Houston hit enough perimeter shots, which they have proved all season and they proved in the series last. And can Utah score enough points? Houston have them beat in depth. Houston has them beat in talent. Utah going to have to scrap. They're going to have to fight. They're going to have to claw. If you can't score, you're going to have to try to get offensive rebounds. If you can't score, you're going to have to trust your defense. And I just don't think this Utah team will have enough. But I did honestly say that against OKC. But I did say in that OKC series, the Achilles heel about OKC is they're not a great perimeter shooting team. Carmelo can get hot. Paul George got hot in game 1. And even Russell got hot from the perimeter a little bit because Rudy Gobert kept him out of the paint. And they can do that. But Houston can do it better and more efficiently. inconsistently. And that's going to be the thing about Utah. Can they do it? And that's the question. But they was able to stay together. They was able to have heart. They was able to fight and win a series. It's good for Donovan Mitchell because Ben Simmons got out of the first round, and Donovan Mitchell got out of the first round. So it goes good for his case, too, for Rookie of the Year. Let me know what you guys think who going to win, Utah or the Rockets. Check out my website, NazisPlayground.com, and check out my Facebook, NazisPlayground.com. Link in the description in the comment section below.